Hello at Howe. We want you to meet and learn more about the designers behind Howe Furniture. So, welcome to our chat with Andreas Störiko, creator of AS Series. My name is Rasmus. I'm the regional sales manager for Howe in Germany, and we already work with Andreas quite a lot, so I'm sure it's going to be educational. Maybe Andreas will reveal some designer secrets and share them with us. Probably. His AS series, smart, harmonious, space-saving, and cleverly flexible series of nesting chairs and tables has gained a lot of recognition and is already been awarded. So let's try to get Andreas involved and get him into our chat. Let's hope. Quite a big thing for me. Already over 40. Try to handle with social media. So let's see. Hope for the best. There he is.
Hi, Rasmus. Hi. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. Hi.
Don't hear you though.
Can you hear me?
Now I hear you.
Perfect. So we're going to start right away with some questions we prepared for you. So what is the main idea behind the A series? What's your idea, your inspiration for that?
Well, for some strange coincidence, I have been, ever since my professional career started, dealing with mostly flexible furniture, very mobile and easy to change your environment. But there were some, we can talk about the cultural impact of the changing environment via the internet and so on later, but to the particular project I got to with an initial idea, which is always a very good way to start from my point of view. That was that you have mobile tables, you have very good solutions for all this since about 20 years or more, probably even 30 years. But there was one issue that was just tickling me in the fingers, and that was that the chairs you always see together with the tables piled up, they look so nicely mobile as well, but they aren't. Either you have to lift them on a wagon, many of them, they're quite heavy, and then move them to wherever you want to install a new workspace or meeting area or whatever. So that's not particularly easy. On the other hand, you could maybe use the most suitable furniture, which is a swivel chair, where you can turn to the other and have the best communication going. But those remain after you move your tables into a pile. They remain as a whole bunch of voluminous pieces, and you don't really know what to do with them. So that was a task in the air to be solved, and that's how I started. I actually started with a chair. Then the other projects came. The other products came with it, and I liked to go even smaller in scale. I mean, tables traditionally have larger sizes, but bistro-sized table that you can nicely work with, move around and stack at the same time. There are not too many of them around. You have them in cafes, but maybe not entirely suitable for indoors. Not many of them are equipped with wheels. So that's how the AS table came about.
Yeah, and what opportunities does it create, the series itself? So.
Well, let's get back to the cultural development of work and life. It's maybe 20 years roughly we have the internet, and 15 years roughly that I remember having my drawing program really working well on the laptop. And now I'm someone who has from the start worked without an office really a lot of times, not being stuck in a place. But since this happened, and since Bluetooth came, you could really be anywhere to work. And then what happens is the merging of the private world and the work world, where you share also those spaces. They become not only office, not only private, it becomes some kind of a mixture of both. And there the smaller tables are very nice to use. They don't take so much space. And the opportunities that are there to use this system is maybe, to make a to hit it on the spot with mobility and bring it to the furthermost mobile way of meeting. If you have these small tables, you can have them for your own as one single work table, or you have small work groups, or you come together in a bigger group. So there's the most possible flexible opportunities.
Yeah, and just to make it simple, to describe it simple, how would you describe the functionality of the tables, of the A series, and the chairs? How would you describe the functionality?
Talking about the function, what I try to do, of course, is that if you want to use the space in a flexible way, you might now have an interview, you might in a half an hour have a meeting of 5 or 6 people, or a seminar, or you have maybe a dinner or lunch, or you want to dance. So to get there very quickly and without a lot of rubbish around, that makes this a difficult task. That was the starting point. And talking in detail, the chairs are nesting. You fold up the seat. Before you even do that, you realize something is happening, because as soon as you take your weight, your body weight off the chair, there will be a little happening on the bottom, which is the base of the chair aligning itself in orthogonal way with the direction you will put this chair into the pile, which is actually quite new and helpful, because before there is maybe 1 or 2 other products that try to do that already, but there you have to, you turn the chair into a certain position and lock something. Here this goes automatically, and since the weight or the mass of the upper part of the chair is more, the lower part will swivel. Depends a little bit on the definition of the floor. If you have high carpet, it might be the other way, but this happens automatically. It's nice. And then the only thing you have to learn is, since you have this asymmetric position of the legs meeting in the center, you have to learn that you come from the left. But now you move the chair into the stack, each time lifting up very easily. There's a small group in the rear of the shell, lifting up the shell, and it remains under more or less 30 degrees when you look at the inclination of the seat. And you put it in the stack, and then it finds itself in a wanted position where it has guides, and it creates a pretty good link, so that you can take a whole pile of, let's say, 5, 6 chairs. That's a very practical amount, because you can still hold the door open. If you move it into a lift or into a storage room, then you move it wherever you don't want to have it, and it can still remain in the room, doesn't even look bad. But the same with the tables. It's one click, and you flip up the tabletop, and there's even a little handle. We have a room in Hamburg, a showroom that can be rented during the day for an event, and there's a little stairs with three steps. So you grab on the handle this table that doesn't weigh much, and you can even lift it over 3 steps, for example. So it's a very handy product.
Perfect. Because you already pointed out some product details, has there been any challenge in the design process? Have there been any problems you have to cope or solve in any case?
Yes, this one. I would have not done as my very first furniture, because I would have been too green behind the ears, let's say it that way. I needed some experience to get all in the development process, all the aspects solved without the thing becoming clumsy or bad to look at, because there's only a few millimeters really when you flip up the seat because it's resting on that little rubber bumper in the rear. That one is sliding underneath the front of the top carrying part in aluminum. So it's quite a lot of trying out and also conceptual thinking to make this work. I mean, once it's done, it looks easy, but it took me quite some trying and try and error to find out how this would work.
Perfect. Also, a special thing, if you look on at the series, how came that you gained the inspiration for this round concave table shape? Did you where does the idea come from for such an unusual shape for the tabletop?
It's actually not that unusual. I mean, it's a circle, it's a sphere.
Yeah.
And one could, of course, do tables that can be united in all kinds of forms. You could do it in a hexagonal shape or in an amorph shape, or cake, let's say, a piece, that you would meet up. But there's always a limit to it. I mean, if you have, let's say, a cake, you divide it by 6, then there's so and so many who can participate, and you will also be stuck when you only 3 to make it look good. Or so it's a simple thing. The circle or the round form. One could have not done the concave cutout, but that is in the first place a very nice way to look at it. And I remember I saw a video of Mallorcan artist.
Yeah.
And she was singing, she has a gypsy background, and she was singing together with these gypsies who were clapping on the table in a round circle. I thought, this is actually a really nice way to meet. So then the concave idea came to it, because that actually makes you having not separate tables, but they somehow become something else. And it works well with 3, it works well with 2 even, or with 5, or many, but they're not standing there as single tables, but they become actually something unique and bigger. And they still, I mean, you have many legs that will be just the slight compromise that you will have, but there's so much good about it that I thought that's still worth doing it. And the concave form has a nice side effect, and that is when you work at the table alone, I at least always turn it with that concave cutout towards myself, because somehow feels nice.
Yeah, understand that. And on the website, we found a quote from you, so I have to read that out. Where you just said that you hoped that your A series design was ideal for an age in which people are allowed to leave the traditional office environment. Could you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a missionary. I don't tell people how they should work, and there's always different things happening at the same time. So it's probably a development that has happened the earliest for people who are working as single working professionals, let's say freelancers, or people who already are mobile. But then, of course, that's now with COVID even more happening, that people find out, how can I work if I'm not sitting in my office, and so that has accelerated this development. At the same time, you still have the traditional structures where it's maybe more of a hierarchy in a company, and the boss thinks, hey, where are all my employees? And they're sitting in cafes and not working. So it comes together with also a different way of how you organize your corporate working philosophy. And if you trust people that they will do their job, which someone who's self-employed will always do, because if he doesn't, he's out of business very quickly. So if people think like that the outcome counts and the quality of work counts, they can organize themselves as they want. So we have this development that, yes, from a technical point of view, you can be anywhere.
Yeah.
You can be in a restaurant, you can be in a bar, in a bistro and work. But of course, it's now, the big question is how will we organize ourselves so that it makes sense, that you have enough privacy, or on the other hand, but that you still also can come together, because when people meet, that's really where innovation happens, where surprises come about, and where beautiful things can develop. If you sit at home alone always, and it's somehow a soul, a lifestyle where you get no inspiration, nothing beautiful will come about. And so this series is not, it's to be discovered for the ones who think, yeah, well, this could be something for me. And I was surprised on the fair, for example, who all was coming. It was people who are on the management level, and others who have a hotel who thought that would be great for my guests to just quickly build up some themselves without a caretaker, some kind of little meeting area. And yesterday I was doing a TV dinner with my wife, because we haven't seen the news for days, and so we make, Zack, you have your little TV dinner organized. So yeah, we will see who likes it. I don't think it's necessarily I don't think I have to define that. We'll see.
We'll see. So, good point. We'll see. What will we see in the future? Let's make a little forecast. What are you working on at the moment? What about the growth of the AS series? What comes next?
Yeah, well, that is interesting, and I can tell you that I work on it. At the same time, I got a phone call before this interview. Don't say anything. So it's contradictory, because we're trying out how this could become, and that we can say, a toolbox, an extended toolbox. What we would need. I was mentioning privacy, for example. That's maybe the very closest product that will follow now. Is a privacy screen, but other than that, be surprised, there will be some more tools in the toolbox soon.
Okay, so there's the future on this product line, and we have to wait a bit to see some more.
Yes,
products. Perfect. Let's now talk a bit more about you as a person. What is your background? What do you focus on as a designer? It is more the problem-solving thing, or is it more beauty, the beauty of design? What are you aiming for as a designer?
Yeah, so for me, I don't know that it's just not a valid measure for everyone. But for me personally, I think the best designs are that I have done, or in general, I find they have some kind of idea and spirit to start with, and that can be a formal idea, yes. Then that formal idea has to be very good, because if you like to do products that have a certain lifespan and also are valid for more than 1 or 2 or 3 years, then there better be a good idea behind it. Yes, it can be formal, but I myself like to look at how people live and at changes, and then for those changes to find, which is again quite difficult, to find a very simple answer that is a valid answer when it comes to the archetype of a product. Also, to do the same thing over and over again can make sense if there's, for example, a new material out or so. But it might be easier also to do something new that makes sense if you look at, like we're talking now about the change of how people work. Yeah. To create something for that environment where people jump on and say, hey, that is something that is not just new, but I can use it. And if it's sold more than a certain amount of years, then you know that was maybe something that really was hitting a nerve, and that's when I'm happy and satisfied that something is both fun and inspiring, becomes an inspiring tool that you use on a daily basis, and I'm happy. And beautiful it has to be, because otherwise it will not either be a good and successful design.
Do you have a favorite artist or designer? Something? Can you name one? Like
to stay in the world of design or product design and furniture. I have been influenced a lot by my first employment was with Richard Zappa, who was working in Milan, and after my studies in the US, I went to assist him, and I found a lot of his thinking approach and design philosophy quite appealing. So that has probably influenced me. And then, to quote someone else, it's maybe Achille Castiglione, who has a more personal note to his things, but that's maybe two, but there are others, Eames or Toya, or I don't know who has left beautiful work behind. No.
Yeah. Would you say you design more from the heart, or more from the head, from this more emotional, or more
both? I mean, if you plan something, you have to use your head, otherwise it's not gonna get anywhere. But also one cannot get stuck with the head and not try out things. I always build things very quickly, because I find if I have it in my hands, it's easier to have the imagination going to the next step. You can try out things, you see the aesthetic deficits quicker, and I have not gone bad, or it has not been bad for me to use the pencil first, and then I've been from start one really using the computer, but still parallel, build everything, try out, and it's easier to correct a proportion while it's in this rough status than if you draw up everything in detail. It might not get it as good, because these small steps in between are missing, and at the end the result might be now I'm really nasty, but let's say in a BMW X6 that is maybe working okay for the American market, but here in Europe, to me still this looks like a failure in proportion, the whole thing, because it's just
it does. I'm on your side on this at this point. When it comes to future again, what for you as a designer, what does the future is going to look like in general, and for you as a designer, what's
well, I'm now in the near future. I'm going to try to go step by step. I will try to complete this toolbox of products for Howe. Let's see what comes about. And in general, I think I'm somehow ended up in this furniture niche. I have other ideas, but they also seem to be very expensive. I have an idea right now how to charge cars, but that is nearly impossible in my imagination, how I would get everyone on the table to agree upon that that's a great idea. And I would probably waste, which I always do, too much money on doing something and patenting it, and then at the end, no. So I will maybe focus in the near future on the furniture, and I think when it comes to the big picture, we as humans are very well advised to rethink our way we treat nature. So if that becomes a big impact in my work, I'm not unhappy. I've been recently driving to Poland, and I thought, how nice they built all these bridges over the highway where the wild animals, all the deer and so on, can move over. And here in Hamburg, you don't find any of that. Everything is cut in slices. Or in Germany, I wish we had a little bit more respect for nature and whatever we design and do. And that goes all the way down to the product. So I'm very happy that this, to get back to our current thing, that this year is when it comes to the environmental impact, very well thought through. And I think that is also in the interest of Howe, that is something it will last long, I hope, and also can be disassembled and reused, if it ever would be so.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of the Howe philosophy. So that's a good match, I think. Your philosophy and Howe philosophy. Thanks for all the info. Thanks for all the input. Just to sum up and wrap up our conversation a little, just three super quick questions and important answers. Just things that came up instantly to your mind when I'm asking you. So. What means flexibility and functionality to you? What is like the typical?
Yeah, it's never on purpose or a way to solve things on its own. I mean, if it makes sense, then it's a good feature, and the flexibility of furniture really means freedom. So if you want to nail it down to the core and the essence, it's a big part of freedom of how you work and you live. I mean, the laptop was so successful because you were having no more problem with current shortcuts because all your work wasn't lost, but mostly also because you can take your very powerful tool in the bag and go on the flight or on the train.
Yeah.
And that's the same with furniture. If you have a flexible furniture and it is at the same time not worse than static furniture, but has similar features when it comes to stability, statics, and aesthetics, then it's definitely an advantage if you can do very much with it and move it and take it away.
Yeah. Second question, and what does it take to create a timeless design? What is
that is not defined by the designer if something is timeless. First of all, it has to be, the circumstances have to allow it. So if you design something for a company that goes half a year later bankrupt, it will not become a timeless design unless someone else buys it. So it's coincidence, but it's also that's the test of reality or the proof of concept. Also, if you design something and people will like it and it will not be exchanged to something else after half a year because it was a bad idea, then it has a chance to become something timeless. Of course, that's depending less on the quality has to be good of the design, but it's a proof of concept by the user.
Yeah, perfect. Last question. How can furniture and design move people into better directions? Is there any
I'm not sure if it can be. I think it's more, one has to look at it more global. If we use our products in a way that it's not a throwaway mentality, then it's a lot done well, because but that doesn't only count for furniture. If we I'm a little bit critical even to the whole recycling idea. Sorry if I disturb now your company communications. It's good at the end, but it's better if the end comes very, very, very late. So the better a product is made, if you think about even the production process, there's lots of throwaway, from cutouts or from waste material. So the longer the circle is, and maybe can be prolonged by inheriting the product to your children, or being repaired, the better it is. And from my point of view, that's where we, even in the furniture world, can do something to make things better. Yeah. It comes down to it.
Perfect. Ending words. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for the talk and this inside views of your work, and furnitures, and I just wish you all the best and have a very nice day. That's all.
Thank you for having this interview with me, and good luck with the series. And I hope that people will discover it and think they can use it and like it.
Perfect. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye, Rasmus.
Bye.
Bye.